So I'm here today to talk about mission critical for your fundraising for the remainder of the year. So if you're already in major gifts, you may have a clear action plan of what you need to do between now and the end of the year. If not, I'm going to be sharing 3 simple steps you can take between now and December 31st to boost your major gift fundraising. So my name's 𝘃𝗶𝗀𝘂𝘁. I'm at 𝗃𝗶𝗶𝘀𝗲𝘃, and I help fundraisers and nonprofit leaders like you raise more 5, 6, and 7-figure donations for their missions. So I was inspired to make this video because I'm hearing and seeing a lot of organizations already kind of giving up this year end because it has been such a tough year. We're making a lot of assumptions about our donors. Perhaps they've already given. We're thinking they've tapped out. They're tapped out. We're thinking they may just not be able to afford to give this year. So we need a big mindset shift on this one from my perspective, because everything we're seeing across the board is indicating that giving is up in 2020. Survey after study, all the research and all of the results are pointing to the fact that giving is up this year. It's across all sectors, and it's with donation of all sizes. So with that in mind, I want to share with you 3 simple steps you can take to get your major gifts back on track in 2020. And this can apply whether you're a small, medium, or a larger shop. So my very first tip for you is to time block. I want you to make sure you're setting aside the time that you need to focus on your highest priorities between now and the end of the year. Time blocking is a game changer. It's something I do myself and have done for many years, and it truly does have an impact. The key here is you're really scheduling time into your calendar, ideally at the time you're most productive. I like to do this in the morning, and I like to time block anywhere between 1 hour and 90 minutes. And the key here is when I create a time block in my calendar for something that I have identified as one of my highest priorities, that is a commitment. That is a commitment that I have set in stone. It's a commitment that's as important as a meeting with a big donor. It's a commitment that's as important as a meeting with my boss. So my first recommendation to you, step number 1, is do some time blocking. Set aside some time when you're most productive between now and the end of the year. Try and get that in your mornings or whenever you may be most productive. If you've got some constraints on your time around family care and childcare and your working hours, but get that in there and try and stick with that commitment as best you can. If you can't manage an hour, maybe you can even manage 30 minutes, but get that into your calendar and protect that time so you can focus on your highest level priorities. Okay, my second tip to you, this sounds like a simple one, but a lot of folks have not done this yet. Pull a list of your major donors or your mid-level donors who have not yet given this year. If you haven't already done that, I would really recommend that you do that. And then what you want to do with that list is pick up the phone and call them. Okay, you notice I didn't say email them or text them or send them a letter, but I really recommend that you get in touch with them in some way that you're using your voice. So that can be a phone call. If you don't have the phone number, perhaps you're doing a personalized video or some sort of voice messaging. Here is why I recommend you communicate with donors using your voice. I recently shared a fascinating study, and it basically looked at how and why we decide on which media or communication channels to use to get in touch and communicate with folks. So here's what it looked at. It looked at a number of different people within the study and how they made choices between, for example, sending an email and picking up the phone. The hugest influencer in the study was basically when a lot of people thought about picking up the phone, they thought, okay, that's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. Perhaps I'm going to be interrupting the person that I call. So maybe I'm going to send a text message or an email instead, right? So there was this presumption of awkwardness, right? What they actually found out in the study was that even when people were communicating with strangers, the awkwardness or uncomfortableness that they anticipated actually wasn't there when they picked up the phone and made the call. And not only that, But the study found that communications using your voice actually had a much higher opportunity for you to create social bonds with the person you're communicating with. So really fascinating study. I think something for us to keep in mind when we're thinking, it's going to be awkward, it's going to be uncomfortable when I pick up that phone. Think of what's at stake, right? Think of what's at stake is that you actually have the opportunity to create a more significant social bond with your donor when you're using your voice, whether that's through phone or whether that's through video or some other voice messaging. So this is not to say there's not a great place for emails and letters and beautifully written communications, but I'd say in this case, time is of the essence. So you really need to think about this. If you are having any barriers to picking up that phone, and it is based in your thinking or feeling that it may be an uncomfortable thing to do, I really recommend you give it a try. We have a very limited time between now and the end of the year to reach our donors, so we need to be doing what is most effective. So recommendation number 2, pull that list of donors who haven't given yet and pick up the phone and call them. My tip number 3 for you is when you're looking at that list and thinking about your donors, really make sure you are asking those folks that you believe are ready to give. Don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions about what people are able to give this year. Don't make assumptions about people's economic situation this year. Again, best way to do this is pick up the phone and call folks and get in touch with them and find out what I often say with my students, what's the best way to find out what donors think, feel, want to do this year? Answer is ask them, right? Don't make assumptions about what donors are wanting to do. Talk to them instead. So I think this is really important. Research was also showing, interesting study, if you spotted it earlier in the year, from the think tank 𝗃𝗂𝗃𝗃 from the UK. They were looking at actually our own nonprofit attitudes about or beliefs about donors right now. And consistently what a lot of nonprofit leaders were saying was that, they assumed that people couldn't give, donors weren't going to be able to give because of the economic impact of the pandemic. They talked about fundraising being insensitive or inappropriate right now. And the reality could not be further from the truth from what we've seen over the past few months. So please don't make assumptions about your donors. Don't assume that they aren't able to give. Make sure you're asking those folks who are ready. Don't let the absence of face-to-face meetings get in the way of you actually soliciting those donors who are waiting for an ask. You just transfer all the principles that you'd usually use in a face-to-face meeting and use other channels, right? So this is what we're faced with this year. Again, we've already seen organizations have some success at this in terms of using both video meetings, phone calls to actually do that relationship building and make sure that you are doing good solicitation of your donors for those folks who are ready to give, right? This calendar year is so important for donors. This is another conversation I've been having with folks lately. Donors don't care about your fiscal year. A lot of your goals may be structured around your organization's fiscal year. Donors are thinking from a calendar year perspective. And when that calendar page gets flipped over from December 2020 to January 2021, if you have not taken the opportunity to make that ask to land that 2020 donation, you can't do that in January anymore, right? So the calendar page is flipped. It's really important for you in a way, again, that is very centered around the donor, that's based on having a great, meaningful conversation with the donor. It's very important that you gather the information you need to decide if the time is right for you to be making those solicitations with your donors. So please, we are entering the most important year end of our lifetime. I know this has been an incredibly tough year for all of us, and I really want to give you a little pep talk now. Please don't give up for the sake of your amazing mission. Please do not sit this one out. We're nearly there. So if you can follow those 3 simple steps to boost your year-end major giving, I think you will see incredible results between now and the end of the year. So if you're somebody who wants to grow your major gift program in 2021, if you want more reliable, sustainable revenue for your organization and for your mission, You are not going to want to miss Major Gift Master Plan. It's my online program and it teaches a step-by-step system. Everything is covered, nothing is left out, and it teaches you how to raise more 5- and 6-figure donations for your mission. Enrollment's going to be opening again in early 2021. You can join the wait list. If you do, you'll be the first to know when doors open again. You can find that at my website, which is 𝗃𝗵𝗱𝗲𝗃.com. So I hope you found this helpful. I wish you best of luck over these crucial upcoming weeks, and I hope to see you again soon.